Guys, welcome back to another episode on the Coach Approach podcast. Hope you're all very well. Today's topic is how I personally have successful fat loss phases and what I do. What do I change from muscle building to fat loss? Now, I've had multiple successful fat loss phases. There's not been one time I've looked to drop body fat and I haven't been able to do it. No matter what position I've been in, whether I've been a laborer, when I've been a PT on the gym floor, where I've done my photo shoot twice, I've done my bodybuilding show, where I've just done a mini cut. I've never not been able to have a successful fat loss phase, whether it's a mini cut or like an extended one, with whatever I've got going on. When I've been super, super busy, when I've had less stuff going on, I've had it all. So I wanted this episode to kind of give you an overview, and I've got on my notes here the topics that I want to talk about what I personally do that hopefully that you can kind of take for yourself as well. And there isn't any kind of secret sauce, as I said last on the last episode, the secret sauce to progress. It is a lot of the basics, but hopefully you can get a bit of inspiration, what I do as well, and how simple it really can be. I have a lot of clients, when we're looking at dropping body fat. They're like, no, my body just doesn't drop fat. Impossible. Every body drops body fat, can or has the potential to drop body fat. It's just finding out what works well for you. There are going to be calories in, calories out is the underlying thing, but there are other factors to that will help the process or help the process along the way. Now, before I get started, I wanted to reference a study that someone did. He pretty much used himself to lose, I can't remember, I think it was 80 pounds or 100 pounds of body fat by just eating Doritos and Oreos, I believe. It's something along those lines. It was an incredible amount of body fat, and all he was eating was Doritos and Oreos. Crap stuff. And he was having vitamin supplements, just to stay on top of his his mineral needs, and he lost loads, which shows you that you just need to be in a deficit. But then again, there are going to be underlying things that will help you to help your position to drop body fat. So the first topic is, what do I do personally do with my nutrition? So let's say I'm 100 kilos. I'm going to use myself as an example. My 100 kilos, I've been muscle building. I've gained 10 kilos from 90 to 100, and now I'm transitioning into a fat loss phase. Well, you should have roughly the beginning. I should know how many calories I'm eating, roughly. Let's say I'm eating, let's just go really easy, 4,000 calories. I'm muscle building. I've held around there. I'm having 200 grams of protein. Well, it doesn't even matter about macros, just to say the calories. You then want to initially start off quite, I wouldn't say aggressive, but you want to take off a good 10 to 20%. So for me, it would be 4,000 calories. We're taking 10, 20% off. That's 400 to 800 calories. Let's say we're going down to 3,300, 3,400. We're initially going to make a big chunk out of that straight from the off. Now, how do I do that with my food? Let's say I'm sticking to my regular meals. All I do is I have the same meals most days. Most of my intake or my deficit comes from carbohydrates and fats. I do not change my protein intake. My protein intake will pretty much stay the same. So if I'm having 100 grams of rice, I'm now having maybe 60 grams of rice. If I'm having 300 grams of potatoes, I'm now having 200 grams of potatoes. If I'm having 150 grams of sourdough, I'm now having either 100 or 75 grams. If I'm normally having, let's say, one full avocado, I'm now having half an avocado. It's that fucking simple when I initially drop calories. Now, I literally just remove it from carbs and fats. I then start changing my coffee intake. I say change my coffee intake. I'll maybe swap to almond milk. I'll look at sources that I can take away, like olive oil, I'll remove. I'll start using spray light oil. I'll remove any type of drink that I've been having to top up calories. I don't drink it, but let's say I had full fat Coke once a day, or let's say I've had a Lucozade. I would remove all of that personally. So I stick to water. I stick to my coffee, which I've got in front of me, which is 35 calories because I'm on a mini cut at the moment. And it's and also my full fat mayo. I'd actually start making sure I'm tracking that. So when I'm muscle building, I actually don't really track butter. I don't really track olive oil. I don't really track mayonnaise. And then when I have to start going, right, I need to actually be on top of my calories. I'm going to take 600 calories away. I go, right, I'm going to measure my sauces. I'm going to make sure that my butter is measured at 10 grams. I'm going to make sure that the olive oil, again, could be measured if I still want to use it, or I'm just swapping to spray light oil. Really simple things like that. And the more calories that I go down, the sources of food then become a little bit more accurate, or I'll start taking more stuff away. Again, it all comes from the carbohydrate intake. If I'm having, I was having 140 grams of oats. Now I have 70 grams of oats, but my whey protein stays the same. My fruit intake stays the same. The dark chocolate I have with it is reduced by half. So I normally have 40 grams, I go down to 20 grams, then I go down to 10 grams. So I'm taking things away that I'm normally having, just making the meals smaller. It really is that simple. Um, I stay on top with obviously a sauce that I do like to have in a mini cut is I have not full fat mayo, I have lighter than light mayo, but when I really want to take some calories away, I'll do ketchup. Sugar, 50% less sugar and salt ketchup. That is absolutely fuck all calories. Is it the best sauce I like to have with some of my dinners? No. But I know that some of my dinners can be a little bit dry, so I'm just going to add a little bit of ketchup on the side. Do I have that full time? No, but I'm switching from lighter than light mayo, which is about 70 calories for 30 grams or 20 grams for like 50 calories. And then I switched, if I'm really, I'm trying to find these calories everywhere, I'll then go to that ketchup, which is like 5 calories. And I'm still able to have some sauce. Oh, there's Bonnie if you're watching on YouTube. Bonnie's come and make an appearance. Um, and that's what I do. That's as simple as that. It all comes from the carbs. And now right now I'm on 2,400 calories. So today I've had my protein oats, which I've kept the same. I haven't actually changed that. Um, I've had my chicken sausages with a sweet potato. I'll have a lot of spinach in a fat loss phase because it's so high in nutrients and it can fill the plate. So I'll always have spinach, maybe some tomato and cucumber in there to fill the plate a little bit more. My sweet potato was 150 grams. It was a pathetic amount of it was tiny, but it's still a vegetable and it's still a good carb source that I want to have. So I'll overemphasize my vegetables as well. So you want to generally, pretty much in an off season anyway, I want to have lots and lots of fruit and lots of veg. That becomes even more so when I'm cutting body fat because they are low calories, high nutrients. They're going to help the body function. They're going to help inflammation. They're antioxidants. All these things that I need when I'm cutting body fat because I need to be in the best position as possible. So my fruit intake might be increased a little bit, more blueberries, more strawberries, more raspberries, more kiwis, whatever it is, because they're low calories and high in nutrients. So that's what I kind of do with nutrition. I just tidy things up. I just remove the carbs and fats. I have the same meals, just reduce the oats or reduce the banana or reduce the, not the banana, sorry, reduce the potatoes. I'll reduce the rice. It really is that simple. Like today, I've got steak now at 3 o'clock. I'm because my calories have gone down yesterday. I'm now only having the steak with vegetarian vegetables, which is like I got it in front of me actually. It's on my phone because I track everything the night before. I'm having where are you? 200 grams of veg, 105 calories. Okay. Then later on, I've got 300 grams of chicken breast, 60 grams of rice, 50 grams of frozen peas, and I've managed to get 10 grams of mayo. And that's another thing, actually. I do track the night before. It's a numbers game, guys. If you can track the night before, I just do it. It takes me 5 minutes. I work out what I need to eat. I work out what I'm having, and I just follow what calculated the next day, so I don't have to stress about it. So that's what I do with my nutrition. Um, You got to find good swaps, increase your veg, increase your fruit, decrease your carbs, decrease your fats, keep your protein nice and high, keep to lean meats as much as possible. I'm still able to get the rump steak in because I've changed things around today. But generally, you don't want to be having steak every single day because it is quite high in calories. But if you stick to, your fish, your chicken, your turkey, egg whites are fantastic in a fat loss phase. And then these things swap over when you muscle build. I have a lot more full fat meat, full fat, like 20% fat mince. I have more steaks. I'll have more burgers. I say that I still manage because I'm quite good with my calculations. I still had burgers yesterday. The night before that I had burgers. I was still able to stick it in. Now chicken is going to be my main source of protein because I'm having 300 grams tonight, which is I believe 80 grams of protein. 70 grams of protein, apologies. So I get a good chunk of my protein just from the diced chicken breast from the butchers. Absolutely insane. Currently defrosting on the kitchen side. But yeah, that's kind of how I would be doing it. And as you can see, there's no magic here. I'm not like trying to find the best fat loss diet. I'm just eating what I normally have, just a little bit less of the carbs and fats. And then I'm increasing the fruit and veg because they're low calories. I'm having a lot of beetroot and spinach. That is king, by the way, for nutrients in a fat loss phase. I'm staying on top of my hydration. Coffee's still very good. You know, that's it really. So that's my nutrition setup and what I change. Um, and then obviously I take away my bagel and Nutella. I love a new bagel and Nutella in the evening, but that then gets removed because I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm looking at, right, I can't have that because that's more calories. I'm not going to cry like a baby and go, oh, I've had a big long day, stressful day. I need to eat bagel and Nutella, like two bagels of Nutella. No, I've got a job to do. That is to drop body fat, get leaner, get more insulin sensitive, and that's going to create room for more muscle tissue when I push back up. So that's nutrition. Output wise, generally I'd have a solid step count at the in this off season. It's actually been quite high because I've been walking body quite a lot, but generally it's around 8,000 steps. And let's say it is just 8,000 steps. I'd look at increasing that slowly. So I'll go from 8 to 9 or 10,000 per day. And we'll see how that goes for a little bit longer. Then we'll increase that a little bit more if we need to. So steps are slowly increased as we go. And that's just generally the output. That's it on output. Because training covers the cardio bit, but output wise is just steps. Or something I did forget actually, that a lot of people will try and nutrition wise will try and stick to processed foods or try and make it really difficult. Now, the more crap that you have, the harder it is to drop body fat because of the way the microbiome works. The way if you're eating lots of crappy food, serotonin, for anyone who doesn't know, is 90%, 95% made in the gut. Now, if you're feeding your gut crap, that also makes your mood low, your sleep low, not good high quality sleep, which all affects fat loss. So if you can get bang on the whole foods, you will see fat loss quicker. So that's what you're trying to achieve. You're trying to achieve fat loss quicker. So the better foods you have, the better your body will function, the better it'll be more efficient in dropping body fat. You can drop body fat on cookies and cream and shit like that, but you just make it super, super hard and you won't really enjoy it. So output wise, yes, step count should slowly be increased. I generally don't have anyone doing more than like 14,000 on a fat loss phase, 14, 15,000. That starts going to a ridiculous amount where it becomes unsustainable, unless they're doing a photo shoot. But you want to slowly trickle that up. Then with training, nothing changes with my training. There is no fat loss training program. If you hear this is my fat loss training program, delete or unfollow them because it's ridiculous. My training program stays the same. And ideally, I would have either started it at the beginning of the fat loss phase or maybe a few weeks before or a month before so I can start building numbers, start to keep my strength, which is just going to maintain the muscle. Cardio, however, we start off with a baseline. So I was doing 30 minutes per week in my off season. We then went to 45 minutes per week. We then went to 60 minutes per week. Then we went to 80 minutes per week, which I'm currently right now. So that slowly gets trickled up. You don't need to go, unless you're doing my 8 week peak physique, where I really do try and like push them quite hard. You trickle up your cardio, you'll be sound. Instead of going from 30 minutes to 60 minutes, no, not 30 minutes per week to 2 hours per week, or even more, 3 hours per week, stupid, because you're reducing your runway. So you, ideally for me, and that's what I do with clients, I'll trickle up the cardio. Remember, you want to do the least for the most return. So there's no point doing loads and loads of cardio where you're going to get a lot of fatigue and just going to make it harder for yourself. You are going to drop quite a bit of body fat quite quickly if you can stick to the diet. Because a lot of people that do loads and loads of cardio, people that do CrossFit and stuff like that, they get so hungry because it's so demanding that they end up overeating. So there's like a vicious cycle. So training, in terms of resistance training, you want to maintain the muscle that you have. So you stick to the logbook, you stick to a training program throughout the whole time as much as possible. There might be there might be outliers to this that you may have to change the program, or you can swap out exercises if you're absolutely fucked on that exercise. That's absolutely fine. But cardio then slowly gets trickled up. Always have a baseline cardio when you're on off season. 30 minutes for me is enough. And then, for my bodybuilding show, I was doing an absolute ridiculous amount. But generally, I've lost a stone, and I've only gone up to 80 minutes, and we've got another about 3 weeks, which will probably go to 100 minutes, maybe 120 max. But you don't need to be doing a ridiculous amount. So probably do like 5 times 20 or something like that, or 6 times 20, whatever it may be. So slowly trickle up your cardio. And that's how I do it. And that's how I have a successful fat loss phase every single time. Nutrition switches up. I start overemphasizing fruit and veg. I just reduce my carbs and fats in my meals, keep protein nice and high. I always bias a little bit more lean meats, get red meat even when I can. I'd make sure my hydration is on point. My meal times are very important as well. So I have regular meal times where you can, if you can do the same, do the same. Swapping like your fat, your sauces, as in like your sauces that you put on the plate, from like full fat mayo to ketchup, to from olive oil to spray light oil, from full fat milk in your coffee to almond milk because it's so low in calories. That's what I did for my bodybuilding show, and actually I can't go back because now I love it. Overemphasizing the water still, and then just having less carbs and making sure that you're having filling carbs. There's a big difference between a bagel carb and potatoes. So I would suggest referencing the satiety list on Google, and you can look at the most filling foods. Potatoes is up there, oats is up there, oranges are up there, grapes are up there. So these are the things I'll be like, okay, cool, this is actually really filling. So I sometimes refer back to it just to remind myself, what are the most filling foods that I can have? I'm gonna have that, that, and that. Brilliant. But remember, you can still have the filling foods and be an idiot and then eat loads of chocolate in the evening. Don't be that person. So yeah, I'd overemphasize the potatoes, I'd overemphasize the oats, I'll overemphasize my oranges, my fruits, all that type of stuff. And then output in terms of steps is slowly trickled up. So is cardio, and that's it. That is how I do it. That's how I've had multiple successful fat loss phases, losing up to 20 kilos. I lost 21 kilos in my bodybuilding show. I lost 20 kilos on my first photo shoot. I lost 18 kilos on my second photo shoot. I'm losing 6 stone here. I've lost another mini cut where I've lost 8 stone, 1 stone. Another mini cut, I lost 2 stone. Easy stuff, guys. Easy, easy, easy stuff. Very simple, not overcomplicated. There is no secret sauce. I am the prime example, and this is what I teach people. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. That is what I personally do to completely, always, without doubt, always have a successful fat loss phase. One thing to note, actually, which I haven't written down, sleep is very important. So if you're not sleeping and you're going to bed at 1, 2 a.m. and getting up at 5, 6, yeah, you're going to make that way harder. So overemphasizing sleep, prioritizing that, make sure it's good quality. I won't go into how to have good quality sleep. That will be for another podcast. But that's very, very important. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, whatever time you're listening to this, and I'll speak to you soon and see you on the next one.